We buy the perfect acrylic boxes, fold shirts into tiny squares, and for exactly 3 days, everything looks like a magazine. Then reality hits. The home organization industry pushes complex, highly aesthetic storage solutions. But these setups carry a massive hidden friction tax. They demand constant sorting, matching, and precise placement just to keep functioning. The survival of any organizing system depends entirely on the daily effort required to maintain it at 8 o'clock at night when completely exhausted. On this 30-day effort versus sustainability graph, line A represents traditional systems. Notice the steep drop-off in tidiness as daily effort compounds. Line B tracks low-friction systems. By keeping required effort near zero, tidiness remains stable and flat indefinitely. You achieve this through macro-functional consistency. Instead of micro-sorting items into tiny compartments, you rely entirely on explicit visual cues and single gross motor physical actions. We are going to evaluate 3 specific categories of high ROI organizational frameworks to determine exactly which trade-offs fit your specific household. Sustainable organization has nothing to do with building personal discipline. You get a tidy home by aggressively engineering your environment to reduce functional friction to zero. The first category is zero-friction dump systems. This means ditching dressers and intricate filing cabinets entirely in favor of giant open baskets and random household bins. This scorecard breaks down the return on investment for dump systems. The setup cost and space yield are low. The defining metric is the daily friction tax, sitting at a 1 out of 10, guaranteeing the system is utilized. When putting something away takes 1 second, you do it, even on your worst days. The mechanical advantage is straightforward. You are converting a multi-step chore, like opening a drawer, folding a shirt, and filing it inside, into a single gross motor action. You take your workout gear, pajamas, or whatever doesn't need to be perfectly pressed, and simply shoot it into a giant basket like a basketball. The required trade-off here is visual. You sacrifice micro-aesthetic perfection, accepting slightly wrinkled clothes and visually heavy, unstructured bins sitting out in your room. This maps perfectly to the visual or neurodivergent demographic who heavily struggle to maintain complex, multi-step daily chores. Trading visual perfection for a one-step completion process guarantees the organizational system survives your lowest energy days. The second category is vertical and visual maximizers. This includes clear acrylic bins, over-the-door shoe organizers, and wall-mounted bucket systems. Looking at the vertical and visual maximizer scorecard, we see a low daily friction tax. The massive utility comes from the high space yield metric. By moving inventory upward onto walls, you extract utility from completely dead space. The primary functional outcome is preventing object permanence loss. For many people, if an item is out of sight, the brain assumes it no longer exists. Keeping your household inventory completely visible means things stop expiring in the dark corners of deep pantry shelves. You immediately stop buying duplicate bottles of ketchup you already own. The trade-offs are spatial and financial. Exposed inventory creates visual busyness in a room, and stocking a pantry with high-quality, deep acrylic bins requires a notable upfront cash investment. This system targets space-constrained pragmatists. You can capture unparalleled ROI by using a cheap over-the-door shoe organizer to hold cleaning supplies or craft materials without touching the floor plan. Seeing your possessions at a glance stops the financial drain of rebuying lost items, effectively offsetting the initial setup cost of the containers themselves. Our third category is the cognitive offloaders. These are physical command centers, household management binders, and smart speakers. This scorecard for cognitive offloaders reveals an inverse relationship. There is a moderate setup cost and no real impact on physical space, but the massive return is the daily friction tax dropping to a 2 out of 10. These systems permanently decentralize the executive function of the home. No single caretaker should carry the entire mental burden of remembering every schedule, doctor's appointment, and digital password. You fix this by compiling all of that critical operational data into a single, easily accessible location. When the data is laid out plainly, anyone in the family can find what they need independently. This significantly lowers the primary organizer's daily cognitive fatigue. A kitchen smart speaker acts as an executive function device. It automates memory retrieval, instantly adding to a grocery list using only your voice. The trade-off here is your time. Building a comprehensive management binder or configuring a digital hub demands a massive, concentrated initial effort to compile and input all the information. Centralizing your data is an upfront friction tax you pay exactly once in order to permanently eliminate the daily cognitive burden of running a household. A home's long-term tidiness is inversely proportional to the daily maintenance its organizational systems demand. This insight-anchor decision matrix maps required maintenance against visual aesthetic, identifying the exact strategy you need. The visual or time-poor demographic lands in the bottom left quadrant. Their optimal tools are exposed, low-maintenance clear bins and open dump baskets. If you fall into this group, you must radically accept visual busyness and heavy labeling. That is the required cost for lasting domestic peace. Traditional perfectionists map to the top right quadrant. They favor highly aesthetic, concealed storage that demands significant sorting. To survive these hidden systems, this demographic must ruthlessly declutter first. Complex sorting fails under high inventory volume. Meanwhile, the space-constraint demographic pulls vertical maximizers into the center of the matrix. They rely on over-the-door organizers and rod systems for cost-to-space efficiency. A space that uses open storage doesn't look messy. It looks calm and lived in because it easily handles the reality of daily routines. Stop buying organizational systems for the idealized person you wish you were. Start investing strictly in the systems engineered for the brain and the schedule you actually have.